here we go. We are in game. Welcome, guys, to the Return of the Kings 2 versus 2. We're here with BacT and ACCM versus Tim+Lyx, and joining me today is BBQTurkman. I'll let you introduce the players and the civs.
Fantastic, mate. Yet again, thanks for having me. This is such a phenomenal tournament, and having Microsoft back on board couldn't be more helpful, and just it's been an awesome situation from them in general. Couldn't be happier with how this has played out, especially with all the new civs as well. Anyway, without any further ado, in the blue playing as a Mayan, we have BacT. Fantastic player overall. If you watched the last game, you know exactly how it's going to be. Going to keep it spoiler-free, though, just in case you are watching this back on the VOD, so I won't tell you exactly what happened, but absolutely worth watching. His partner for this game, playing in the purple, going to be ACCM. Also, absolutely phenomenal player across the board. Going to be playing as the Chinese for this one, and I'll give it to you for the other civs.
Yeah, I'm just watching these boar lures right here. I'm wondering what's going on. It's like the boar just changed aggro onto a different villager, and ACCM ends up dropping his boar behind the TC, which is like the worst place the boar could possibly end up being. So I'm confused at what's going on, but at least he didn't lose a vill, that's for sure. So anyway, on the other side, we have the Chinese team, and that is, of course, in the green, Tim. He's playing as the Vietnamese here. And his teammate in the red, playing as the Magyars, we have Lyx. Personally, I'm very excited to see the Magyars in this matchup. We haven't seen much of them in any of our tournaments so far, and I think now we're introducing the 2v2 game mode, we are going to see them more often, so I think they're more viable in a team game situation, since they're a very strong post-Imperial civ, right?
Yeah, there's fantastic benefits you're seeing out of the new ones. The Magyar, of course, basically a cavalry civilization overall, so actually going to be a good counter to their opponent actually picking up the two range civs there. So hopefully going to be able to move in with that one later on in the game, get some advantages going there.
Yeah, the Magyars are interesting because they're one of the only civs in the game that have fully upgraded paladins and arbalest, so they're pretty versatile, and I think in the late game they can be a real powerhouse. Obviously, with the Chinese teams liking to wall up so much, I wouldn't be surprised if we do see some walling between the two bases of Tim+Lyx, and that will help them to secure a trade line. But it's going to be interesting to see if they do go for that, or if the game ends up being closed out before we reach the post-Imperial age. Now, Regicide Fortress, obviously, players do start with that castle, and I'm going to be super interested to also see the Vietnamese with their Rattan archers versus the Mayans with their plumed archers. Because the Mayan plumed archer is like an anti-archer archer. It's like, higher pierce armor. It's great at dealing with the other archer units. But so is the Rattan archer from the Vietnamese, which Tim is going to be able to produce when he gets to the Castle Age. So we're going to see some Rattan archers versus plumed archers. And I think in a 1v1 pound for pound, I do think the Rattan archers come out on top. And then just to throw a curveball in there as well, we've got ACCM with the Chinese. He can always make some Chuko new. And so I'm going to be very interested to see how these unique units fare against one another. And I'll be interested to see what the Magyars do. I kind of feel like Magyar Hussar probably not the best unique unit for this kind of game. We'll see if he takes a different approach when he gets to the Castle Age.
Probably the biggest thing I have to add into this matchup really is that the Vietnamese is going to be super strong because, of course, they do get the extra HP on their archery units as they start to advance. But the big thing we're really going to see, and the reason Vietnamese are such a good pick for this at the moment, is their team bonus. They actually give the upgrade to the Imperial Skirmisher available for the team. So the longer this game goes, if we do see those Imperial Skirmishers out, they are going to be in a very good place to push back across against all those archers.
Yeah, exactly. That's something to keep in mind as well. And yeah, I mean, I love thinking about how the team bonuses might come into play. Another interesting team bonus would be the Magyars, which gives all archer units +2 line of sight. So that means that Tim's Rattan archers are going to have +2 line of sight here, which could give him an edge as well when it comes to taking the best fights possible. If you can see more of the map, then it gives you the better, you've got a heads up on where might be the better place to fight. And so that's also going to come into play right there. So obviously these new civs, new team bonuses to take into account, something that we don't really think about too much with the old civs because, well, we've seen them so often in the past. It's kind of like second nature now. So yeah, I mean, right now, Feudal Age coming in for all these guys. Everyone seems to be on about even footing at the moment. Obviously, no spectator overlay, so it's hard to say for sure. it looks like ACCM way ahead in vills. Like, wow, 27 population already.
It's a huge difference. It looks like that we are seeing a market blacksmith from both, well, from pretty much everyone on the field at the moment, actually just doing a quick zip around. So it looks like we will be seeing up into that fast castle. No doubt going to be seeing a boom from most players, just because, of course, starting off with a castle in your base, it means you're really hard to chin against. Mangonels are going to have issues getting in through there. So really both players, or I should say both teams at the moment, in a really good defensive spot. So I wouldn't be surprised to actually see some fast imps with this one, especially because, again, they've started off with that castle. So getting up into Imperial Age, going to be such a quick process.
Yeah, that's for sure. I mean, it's interesting. I mean, we should see like 2-3 TC booms from all these guys, I assume. But yeah, I mean, with ACCM being Chinese, it gives them such a nice, a nice starting point in this one. With the 28 population of ACCM as he goes up to the Castle Age versus the 26 of BacT, the 26 of Tim, the 25 of Lyx, those villagers going to be working overtime whilst he does the upgrade. Bit of harassment coming in from Tim, but he's going to lose his scout to the castle. And once we do hit the Castle Age, we should start seeing some of those unique units coming out. I'm curious about Lyx. I mean, he's really the one I want to watch for the time being, because so far, he's not made any second military production building. He is actually just going up with his market blacksmith, so no indication of what his plan might be when he does hit the Castle Age. I'm expecting we're going to see 2 or 3 TCs from all of these guys, but we should start to also see some unique units coming out looking for the early map control.
Yeah, I'm really hoping at the moment we see pretty much a full boom from all the players, just because it'd be really nice to have a really big Imperial game to actually be able to watch over, see the new and the old civs really come in. I really want to see some of those Imperial Skirmisher. Not a unit I've had a lot of just time to deal with and really work out how effective it is. So seeing something like that get moved into play at the moment would be absolutely fantastic to see how much of a hard counter it is going to be for these civs, because like I was saying at the start, I think that's probably going to be one of the defining factors we're going to see if this ends up going into a post-imp game.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, obviously in a 2v2, you have got the ability to trade, but in the late game, I do feel like Lyx and Tim are going to have the better units for kind of dealing with a scarcity of gold. The Magyar Hussar, of course, can cost no gold, and it's a very strong unit considering that. And then, of course, as you said, with the elite skirms, sorry, the Imperial skirms, they can be very effective in these kind of situations as well. So if there is a scarcity of gold in the very late game, then yeah. But for now, we're starting to see the Vietnamese making their rattan archers, and we're seeing the Mayans starting to make some plumed archers. Now, I believe the plumed archers do spawn a lot faster. They train a lot faster. So already backed with 3 plumed archers out, while there's actually, there's 3 for Tim as well. I'm not sure then if they're that much quicker, but I'm pretty sure the plumed archers should have a faster creation time. Just having a quick look at the castle there for both players. It's fairly similar, actually. Hard to say. I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah, I've already got the 3 TCs down for ACCM as well, so looking to get very ecoed up. BacT going down with his 3rd as well. We've got 1 in the gold there, 1 on the gold and wood, so some really good positioning from him. Overall, looking at Tim's base as well, haven't seen any of the extra town centers pop up yet, but going to get 1 over in the back towards that wood line there. No 3rd on the way yet, so it looks like he is committing a lot more into the military at the moment. And as for Lyx, it looks like Lyx as well, going out with the 1 extra TC on the gold there, and 1 in the back on the wood line as well.
Yeah, I'm not surprised to see Lyx going straight up with the 3 TCs. Obviously, from the castle, it's completely idle at the time for the time being. But we're going to see the first engagement here on the front. Tim already has Bodkin Arrow done. So he's got a really big advantage in this fight. He's got the range advantage, he's got the attack advantage. And if you compare the Plumed Archer and the Rattan Archer pound for pound right now, the Rattan Archer has a little bit more damage. It also has a lot more pierce armor. It's got 3 more pierce armor. Even though it's down with 35 health versus the Plumed Archer's 50, the Rattan Archer is very strong thanks to that pierce armor, that 4 pierce armor versus the 1 of the Plumed. So I feel like the Rattan Archer is more specialized in dealing with counter archers, whereas the Plumed Archer is a bit more versatile in dealing with kind of like, cavalry, for example, thanks to that higher HP pool.
Nah, it's exactly what you're saying there. I completely agree on all fronts. The extra HP on the Plumed Arch just means it's a really strong raiding tool overall. They can sit under TCs, soak up a little bit of that damage. They can soak up the cavalry damage a little bit more. And because of that, they're just good at getting in, doing some damage, getting back home, and surviving most of that trip.
Yeah, whereas the Rattan Archers with a smaller HP pool, I say I feel like they're more specialized here. Now, BacT's gonna lose 3 of his Plumed Archers there to 1 Magyar Hussar. It's a very strong, unique unit. But obviously, you've got to be careful if you're trying to boom up. You can't really afford too many of these guys thanks to that high food cost. So he's got to be very careful not to let his TCs idle. But it's always worth making a 1 or 2 military units if it's going to mean that you can defend and prevent your opponent from raiding and killing villagers. So Lyx with just a single Hussar here for now, and I think that's going to be it for the time being, as he does focus on his boom. As I said at the start of this game, I wouldn't have been surprised to see this kind of team wall coming up from Tim+Lyx. That is coming across the center of the map right now. Typical style of play for those guys, and since they've spawned a lot closer together, it's a lot easier to do. It's just a small wall that will end up protecting a huge amount of the map. On the other side, on ACCM and BacT side, it's so much more open. These guys cannot get a team wall between them, and that might make it harder to defend from raiding and actually keeping map visibility. So let's see what happens here as Tim moves in with his Rattan Archers, and BacT has to defend.
Absolutely. Something I've noticed as well from ACCM, we're actually seeing a similar trend here from the last game. ACCM still hasn't created many, I don't think he's created a military unit actually as well. He's just starting to get some out in his castle now, but it looks like BacT's starting to try and do some early damage like he did last game, getting nice and aggressive, trying to get some harass in there, letting ACCM boom up again. So if we're lucky, we might see the exact same strategy where BacT manages to do some damage, ACCM rolls in, but at the same time, Tim+Lyx already having those walls up, Tim getting so aggressive with these Rattan Archers already, it looks like we might see him get thrown out a little bit.
Yeah, I don't think that BacT is going to be anywhere near as successful as that first game on Hideout. Obviously, that first game, he was able to completely cripple Lyx in the early game. Now, though, I mean, he's not actually killed any villagers with this army of Plumed Archers, and he's quite easily countered as well by those Rattan Archers from Tim. Of course, the Plumed Archers do run around a lot quicker, so they've got a little bit more maneuverability that they can kind of raid a little more effectively, as you said earlier. But, yeah, for now, BacT making more military, but not really doing much with it for the time being. I think we're going to start seeing some upgrades coming in, though, because he's got a university coming up on the front, and that means he's looking to get ballistics and start to do a bit more damage with these guys, whilst he kind of takes the time to mass them up for now.
Yeah, we've got Tim finally dropping down his 3rd TC as well, so it looks like he's starting to try and get a little bit more into the eco game just in the back of his base there on the plateau next to the gold pile. So going to be able to start booming up a little bit harder behind that, because as far as it goes, looking at the scores overall, Tim+Lyx falling behind a little bit could be mostly due to scouting, but at the same time, ACCM looking in a very dominant position right now.
Yeah, in terms of economy, he's definitely in a good spot. He is about to lose 2 villagers, though, as those Rattan Archers do come in and get a couple of free picks. That's not too bad. Not too bad at all. And look, they take so little damage from the TC as well there. TC doing 5 damage per arrow, 4 pierce armor on the Rattan Archers. No problem for Tim. He's just going to come and raid some more. Why not? He's going to find another vill. Nice for Tim.
These units are going to be so strong once the game really gets going. When people learn how to utilize these guys properly, they are going to be such a strong raiding tool, especially in late game, because they're actually just going to be able to walk into a base and just sit between any kind of castle and a lumber line, castle and a gold line, anything like that, not care, and just take the villagers out so quickly.
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree, and it's going to be really scary if BacT and ACCM cannot defend their economies late game here. BacT now coming in with some plumes. He's going to get the picks. I think, he's got the army numbers here, so he should be able to clean this up, even if he has the inferior unit, 1 for 1. So this is going to be good for BacT to clean that up and push Tim away. Now, a little concern for Tim, because, I mean, if you notice that 3rd TC that you mentioned, it's very late compared to everyone else. BacT already had his 3rd TC up a long time ago, and that was before... that was whilst at the same time making these Plumed Archers. So, Tim, gonna have to be a little careful now not to get out-boomed, and I think he's on his way to build his 4th TC to try and catch up a little bit. Meanwhile, ACCM with that castle on the hill outside of Tim's base. Why am I not surprised? I like that a lot.
This is looking Very dangerous for Tim right now. ACM's clicked up to Imperial. He's got his forward castle coming up. I don't know if Tim's going to be in much of a position to actually defend from this one at the moment, because it might be a similar situation as to earlier when we saw just basically the push came in against Lyx. He wasn't prepared for it and basically just got taken out based on the premise that he didn't have anything there to actually hold it back, gain him any time or anything like that. ACCM having some Chukanu coming up straight away to defend the castle. Once that's up and once he's in Imperial, it's going to be pretty much a free-for-all over here, and I feel like Tim's not going to have the units to push it back.
Yeah, it's going to be really rough. He needs more of those Rattan archers, or he needs some help from Lyx, and Lyx cannot really afford to help Tim right now. So Tim is here on his own, and he's going to have to deal with this from ACCM. So just real quick, what game time are you at right now, just to make sure we are synced up?
22:40.
All right, I'm at 48, so I'm like 5 seconds ahead of you. So just go for a little fast forward. We should be good. All right, sorted.
Done.
Yeah, ACCM right now, though, getting ready to push in, and he's got the support of BacT as well. BacT sending his plumed archers over, so it's kind of like a 2v1 situation here. Tim, as I said, probably not going to have a huge amount of backup from Lyx. Lyx, he's on the way to the Imperial Age himself, though, and I think he's... Actually, I was wrong about that. He actually had a great boom, and I actually thought he'd be a little slower than he was, but no, he's on the way up to Imp, and he's ready to make some Cavalier, I feel. That could actually help to defend Tim. But against Mash Chuko Nu, it can still be real hard, since the Chuko Nu do deal with those sort of heavier units a lot better. They deal with rams quite effectively. They deal with heavy cavalry a lot more effectively than your standard archer units. So, again, got to be a little careful. But with the Rattan archers in there and some heavy cavalry, I think Tim and Lyx will have a good combo, that's for sure.
You're exactly right. Chukunu, as we know, really, really strong units at dealing with that just because of the multiple arrow factor. Having this hill as well, though, it means that ACM has pretty much secured himself a really good staging point. So even if the cavalry are to charge up the hill, they've got the castle there to deal with. Be fighting uphill, which is actually quite a bad spot you want to be in. Well, it's a bad spot you don't want to be in, really, just because getting up there, you're going to lose pretty much all the benefits you're going to have, especially against a unit like the Chukunu, because every single arrow it fires, it's going to be getting those bonuses on it, and every time it does that, it's just going to be weaning away at that massive HP pool you have to actually get in there and do the damage. ACM, though, pushing forward with another castle, and Tim needs to find an answer. He really needs to find an answer now.
As the first treb comes out for ACCM as well, pressure is on. And I think the answer is going to be coming in part from Lyx, who's actually got the Knights out now. Magias with +4 attack on the Knights straight away, and that is, of course, for free. One of the nice things about the Magias is that when they have a blacksmith, they do get their infantry and cavalry attack upgrades immediately, and free of charge. So that's really nice. But I do feel like the map control for ACCM and BacT is really starting to go in their favor, as BacT comes forward on the top with a castle as well. And I think BacT will be on the way up to Imperial. Yeah, he is. He's on 75%. So it looks kind of scary for Lyx and Tim. I feel like they're going to end up getting themselves backed into a corner with maybe, like, you know, a quarter of the map at most to play with, whilst ACCM and BacT are going to have, you know, great map control. They're going to get control of all these additional gold piles in the center, and they're just ready to go. I mean, they're already pushing down Tim's military production buildings, and it's starting to break down this wall. So a little scary for Tim right now. He needs more Rattan archers, and he needs that Imperial Age upgrade. It's on about 80% as well at the moment.
Yeah, interesting note straight away as well. We can see some really good foresight from ACCM as well. He's actually already got Onager researched as well, and he's actually getting a couple of those out onto the field at the moment. So going to be in a really good place to actually deal with any of those mashed up archers that do come in, because he will be able to take him out very quickly, force the splits, force the slow trickle in, because if they do come in bulk like that, stacked together, they will lose lots of them very quickly, especially with the hill as well. Probably the best news, though, I do have is just BacT and ACCM pushing together at the moment, pushing against both their opponents so they can't actually stack up and try and defend off one of them, which is probably one of the most important things we're going to see in this game, just because of the fact Lyx isn't really going to be able to come over and help Tim, even though he's in a bad spot at the moment. So BacT's going to really start applying some pressure, and if he can do that and force Lyx to have to come home, Tim's going to be on his own, and if he's on his own at the moment, it's going to be a bad time, that's for sure.
I mean, even though he has the Rattan archers, he doesn't have a second castle. He does have a second castle. He just finished his second castle, so it's much later in comparison to ACCM, who's already got his third castle up. So Lyx coming in with the Cavalier, that's really important. He did come in and clear up the siege. That's going to delay ACCM's push, but as you said, he will have to go back home. if BacT starts attacking over on the other side of the map, which he is doing. Now, the plumed archers, they're so cheap and easy to mass that even with the Rattan archers being a good counter to them, I think that BacT is still going to come out on top just due to sheer numbers rather than anything. And ACCM with a third castle on the south side now as well. Like, these guys know how to castle drop. It's so effective. And oh, Tim going to lose a lot of villagers on the gold as these plumes come in as well. Oh dear. Oh dearie dear.
Has he got another gold he's taking from as well? Yes, he's got one up next to the other TC there, so he's not completely pushed off it. But this is not what you want to be seeing overall. You don't want to see someone get pushed off gold, especially at this point in the game, because it's really important to get those gold units out, because they're just going to be doing such bulk damage. And trash at the moment, it's just really not going to stand up.
Yeah, nice bang and Onager shot coming in there for ACCM. He just clipped a couple of those Rattan archers, forcing them back. And this, of course, is really scary now as Lyx comes in with the Cavalier, but they're getting screwed. I don't think they can hold the line here, not one bit. Lyx is going to lose his Cavs. And with that, I don't think that Tim will be able to hold off against the Onagers and the Chuko Nu. The Rattan archers move so slowly as well. It just makes the Onagers much more, well, it's more likely, I guess, that they'll be able to hit their shots.
I'm really impressed with ACCM's positioning in this game thus far. He's always been very careful where he's had his Chukanus, and nothing kind of says it like that engagement there. Did have both of his opponent's section of wall there, stood in the middle of that one, forced the wall delete, basically just minimizing the surface area he actually had on his Chukanus there, just so the cavalry couldn't actually get in there and start landing the hits. So until that piece section of wall was deleted off, which did eventually happen luckily, they were actually just such hard units to deal with there.
Yeah, Chuko Nu incredibly powerful, and obviously now with +6 attack as well, they're nearly fully upgraded. He just needs the final defense upgrades. On the other side of the map, BacT, he's in. Lyx here just doesn't seem to have a leg to stand on. He's lost his castle, and that's a lot of plumed archers from BacT. My goodness me, that's like plumed archers as far as the eye can see. Lyx has Paladin though, but it's just so hard to mass Paladins up. And as we said earlier, these plumed archers with a very large HP pool, hitting hard, you know, it's going to be difficult for those Paladins to really mop this up as effectively as they might like. It's enough to push back for now though, to the wall, like you said before, the wall kind of providing a safe space for BacT to position his army. Scary stuff for Tim+Lyx. I don't see how they're going to come back from this right now. This is atrocious for them.
It will be an absolute miracle if they can manage to take this one back. Like he was saying, just a Chuko Nu just being such an effective unit, and the plumed archers just ability to mass that one nice and quickly, it makes it so hard to deal with. Even when you've got a hard counter out in the field, those paladins are fully up. They've got 7 pierce armor, 180 HP. They are bulked, ready to go. But the point being, the positioning and the ability to actually just move back with these guys, it just means you can deal with paladins and units like that really, really well if you know how to position it, you know what you're doing, which of course we do know. BacT is all over.
Oh yeah, he is all over it. Look at that. There's even the Treb's going for some pot shots on the Paladins right now. More forward castles from BacT, no surprises there. Castle, TC on the right side. Oh, you got one with the Treb? Oh,
yep.
I think I missed that, but wow.
There you go, clip of the game, guys.
Love it. And Lyx right here losing everything, it seems. I mean, even with the fully upgraded Paladins, these plumed archers are way too strong for Lyx to deal with that. ACCM and BacT, they're going to close this one out. I've got no doubt about it. And there you go, Tim. Calling GG. It's well and truly over. And the question of the game, did the Chinese win or did the Vietnamese win?
Ooh. I don't think it's much of a question.
The Vietnamese Civ lost, but the Vietnamese team won. So
it's a really interesting question you've got there. It's kind of like a riddle mixed in a question, wrapped in a mystery.
A mystery rap. I like it. So
a mystery rap.
BacT, great play from him. Really taking control of the map with the plumed archers, and ACCM the same. And I feel like this defensive playstyle from Tim+Lyx just wasn't working out for them. They basically gave the map control to BacT and ACCM. As a result, that's why you're seeing these castle drops on their walls in a forward position. And yeah, I mean, that was a very dominant performance from ACCM and BacT right there. They will take the series 1-0, and with that, they will knock out Tim+Lyx in the first round. It's a single elimination, so there's no coming back.
Man, it's so harsh to see something like that. Single elimination is just so rough, but I love it at the same time because it means everyone's really fighting for every single point. They're not dropping games. It means they need these wins if they want to continue. But BacT and ACCM just proving exactly how strong they're going to be, going 2-0 in the first game there. Such strong play. I don't think there was a point in either of those games as well where I was actually worried for them.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just wondering. I mean, Tim, I was a little disappointed really from his play here because I really expected him to get his third TC down a little faster. I felt like he was too late to the party when it came to booming. I feel like he could have been a bit quicker there, and I would have liked to see the Rattan archers get used a bit more, but I think it's very difficult to outmash your opponents when they have more castles than you, and you know, Tim's here sitting on 2 castles, ACCM's on 4, BacT is on 5. Of course they're going to be outmassing you, and I feel like Tim just never really got a foothold in this game, and with that, I mean, he couldn't make the Rattan archers as he would have liked, and without the Rattan archers, it's very difficult to deal with the Chuko Nu and the plumed archers from BacT. So difficult game for Tim+Lyx, and BacT and ACCM. I'm excited to see what they can do going forward. They both looked very strong, and as we've seen, the 2v2 sort of setup has a very, very different sort of playstyle to it. So we're going to throw it over to Nilpford now. He's going to give us his analysis of that game, and we'll be back shortly.
ACCM and BacT advancing into the semi-finals here. And the question, what's better, Vietnamese or Chinese? Not answered for now because I think it came down to a strategy decision, not to a civ decision. Let's see what happened here. We saw Tim+Lyx really valuing that team war, and it kind of worked out. The Red-Iron Archers pretty nice against the Plumed Archers. Did save the villager, got some Plumed Archers killed, and it all looked pretty good for them. Getting the team wall up, and then they were safe. But at this time, we had ACCM going for the full boom. Tim was going +2 on the aggression, and now we can see ACCM taking the hill, going for the push, an instant upgrade in onagers, instant trap, and putting pure pressure on that beautiful hill there. And therefore, being ahead at this point, roughly 25 villagers. Then we had Lyx needed to come, got some nice kills off against onagers and traps, did buy some time, but at the same time, when Lyx went down, we had BacT at the top, already preparing a big forward with all his castles and traps out, more plumed archers out, and therefore it looked pretty slim for him. But how did we get into the scenario where ACCM got so far ahead compared to Tim? We got into the phase where the team wall was up and we had a lot of Rattan archers out. Look at this. Team wall is up, everything's fine, but this time Tim only 2 TCs. ACCM, as we did show before, going for full 3 TCs. Now let's speed up a bit. What is Tim actually doing? As we saw, +2 and full Rattan archers. No villager kill over here. Now trying to go to the left-hand side and not finding any damage. And going back up top. Now trying to go to the left-hand side, but going up top, killing a wolf. Now going back to the left-hand side. And look at that. That was a solid 2 minutes without doing any real damage. And now it's the first time that we can actually do some damage. And yeah, ACCM just has a beautiful map. We'll lose 2 villagers, but that TC makes him super safe. All those rituals are untouched. Now he even is going for the push. Let's take a look. ACCM, 400 food, has enough stone to put down the castle. He's going aggressively, 76 pop, and Tim cannot really do any damage. Tim maybe went a bit too heavy on the Rattan archers here, but yeah. He wanted to get the rage and was pretty indecisive where to go, if he wanted to go against BacT, if he wanted to go against ACCM. And then ACCM had a beautiful map, had all his villagers safe. And Tim, although he went for a lot of armies, sacrificing so much of his eco, couldn't do any damage against ACCM. Therefore, ACCM was up roughly 20 villagers and taking the W here to advance into the semifinals.